tremendous lesson. In studying this lesson, I was truly blessed by God.
Amen.
And just some of the things that were just comforts to me. Comforts to me. So we're going to get started. The aim for change. By the end of the lesson, we will analyze the parable of the sheep and the goats, affirm the call to treat those in need as we would treat Christ, and assess how to care for the poor and outcast in our own lives. Since Mother is not here today, we can get a volunteer for the folks. Okay?
Mr. Whitelaw and his son were doing their routine shopping. At checkout, they noticed an older gentleman and his son putting some items back because they didn't seem to have enough money to pay for them. Mr. Whitelaw went over and discreetly told the cashier he would pay for their groceries. The cashier informed the gentleman that his groceries had been paid for and he didn't have to put anything back. As Mr. Whitelaw and his son were packing their groceries in the car, the older gentleman and his son came over and expressed their extreme appreciation for what they had done. The Whitelaw's reply was simply, "Praise God, praise God." Unbeknownst to the Whitelaw, their neighbor Greg had been watching. Greg came over after work the next day and asked Mr. Whitelaw about what he had seen. He wanted to know if he knew the older gentleman and his son. Mr. Whitelaw told Greg that he didn't know them, but it was his responsibility, but as a Christian, to help those in need. Greg confessed that he had never helped a stranger, especially not one who had not asked for help. He said he felt guilty because he had never even considered helping someone in that way. Mr. Whitelaw shared that helping others was an opportunity to serve God. In today's lesson, believers see positive consequences of merciful behavior and negative consequences of failing to live a righteous life. When have you helped the poor?
Amen.
Now, what I listened to this morning after studying this lesson was actually our pastor's message on the 15th. Be a gift. Be a gift. After I listened to that message, I was like, man, this lesson. This is this lesson. Be a gift. And God just in this lesson showed me so many things. Not so much I didn't know them, but to kind of reinforce and to bring them to the forefront of my mind. To say, man, this is a lesson that is a tremendous blessing to true believers.
Amen. Amen.
Those who are believers, this is a message of hope, a message of something to look forward to. And it is tremendous. So let's just jump right into it. Let's read verse 31, Matthew 25, verse 31.
When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit upon his glorious throne.
When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of glory. Now, we've had in this lesson a couple of previous parables. Now, they call this a parable of the sheep and the goats. And yes, it is a parable. But to me, it's an illustration or an example of that great white throne judgment. Because Christ now is coming in his glory.
Yes, sir.
And he's with the holy angels. He's sitting on his throne, ready to judge the entire world. For a saint and a believer, that's a glorious day. That is a glorious day. If you have been a believer in Christ,
And prepared.
and you think of a more glorious
Day.
day
Amen.
than that. All right, let's go on to verse 2.
All the nations will be gathered in his presence, and he will separate the people as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats.
Amen. Amen. Now, if we think back to some parables previous, the tares and the wheat, and different parables like that, God does not tell us to try to separate right now. First of all, we can't. Because we have no idea who's saved and who's not.
Amen. Amen.
We can't tell. In fact, in the parable of the tares and the wheat, he said, no, leave them alone. Because you might mess some stuff up. When my angels come, they will
They're
separate.
separated.
And that's what we see in this lesson. It says, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. God knows who's going to be on whose side. God knows whom he has saved.
Amen.
He knows. And when that time comes of judgment, because we're sitting in here, we may have no idea. The people who we think, oh,
Yes.
I know she's going to heaven. And then another person you look at, I know they ain't got a shot. When you get there, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, everything is mixed up. So, and now, I don't know if you've heard me in Bible study a lot of times, I will never tell anyone they're not saved if they say they're saved.
Amen.
I will never tell anyone that.
I have that right.
I will just look for the fruit and see their lives. But I will not judge them as far as if they're saved or not. Because I have no idea. Now, I'll say this, I don't know how controversial it'll be, but I have a problem when they have people come up and they send them over the little Roman road and then they tell them they're saved. If you said these things, then you are saved. Were you sincere? If you said these things and you were sincere, then you're saved. How do they know that?
You don't.
How do they know that?
Well, when we look at what we read in James, it says that faith has to be lived out.
Right.
And you said you could tell by the fruit. When you are saved, your whole life starts to change. All the stuff you used to do that was out of compliance with God, you are gradually getting rid of it. And when you talk about your salvation, God has saved you from your sin. You're supposed to be working not to sin as much. And that's the thing that I used to, because I believe what I read in Romans, but I used to question myself, well, am I really saved? But then I read in Corinthians about walking by faith. And then I read in James about faith without works is dead. And so I realized that when it tells you in the scripture that anyone in Christ is a new creature, everything old has passed away, all has become new. That told me what I needed to do to work on my salvation. Yes, I'm a believer, but if I'm not acting like Christ, who's to believe that I'm a believer? And so that's what I'm constantly trying to work on, changing my behavior. And I'm always telling God, I'm sorry that I'm not as strong, but I realize that in my weakness, He gives me strength. So that's really not a bad thing. Keep striving.
And, you know, you talking about the Roman road, Romans 9 and 10 say, if you believe in your heart
That's the only way to be saved.
the Lord Jesus,
That's what it says.
that God raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. And 10 say, with the heart, confession is granted through righteousness, but with the mouth, salvation
Confession is made into salvation.
to salvation. See, that's the, but you still got to walk this walk. You know, if after you say that, there's a walk you have to do. You know, just because you say that, like you say, that don't mean that you say it.
But
You got to walk, you got to believe it within your heart and confess it with your mouth. Then you got to walk this walk. But there's a reward at the end though. That's why I'm so glad I can walk this walk. Because I ain't looking what's gonna happen in between this walk. I'm looking at the end.
Right.
And I was gonna piggyback on that.
with the end on
Should we change our wording in on that? Because God's word is true, that's no ifs, ands, buts about that. Should we say, if you follow these rules that God has given us, and if you stay in them, you've been transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you do those things, then you shall be saved. But if you really are, you are saved. But like you said, when you tell them, oh, you saved, and then they run out here and, oh no, the preacher told me I was saved and such and such, such and such, you know. We don't really know, like you said, but maybe we should address it, you know, a little bit different when we, you know what I'm saying?
And let me clarify. Let me clarify. I'm really talking about the person who tells them that they're saved.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That person could sincerely been saved. God has come into their life, saved them, transformed them. And then, but then for us to say you are saved is putting ourselves in the place of God.
Right.
We don't know that. What we say is, brother, continue on in the faith,
Right.
believing, trusting in God. We're here to help you to follow. Because the only real test for us to know that somebody is in the faith is 10 years from now, they're still in the faith. They're still believing. They're still going on. That's how we know that somebody's in the faith or has been saved, because that salvation continues. Salvation, that repentance, all of that stuff continues. So that is what I'm saying. I don't want to confuse, say that person isn't saved. No, that person could sincerely be saved. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the person who tells them they're saved, how do they know that? You know, we don't know when Christ has saved somebody, but Christ can save that person who walked. It could be 15 people walk up. All say that same prayer, but only one of them got saved. But we told all 15 they were saved. And so we can confuse people that way. We tell them to continue in your walk with Christ. We're here to be a help to you with that, okay? So let's kind of get back into this. To sheep divided, 33.
He will place the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left.
Okay. So the sheep are at the right hand, the goats are at the left. What does the right hand mean? The right hand is what? Okay. It is also a place of honor. Where is Jesus? At the right hand of God, in a place of honor, a place of blessing. When God puts the sheep on his right hand, what he's saying is, I'm putting you in a place of honor. And putting you in a place, and he didn't say, I'm going to put the rich on my right hand and the poor on my right hand. He didn't say I'm going to put the educated and learned on my right hand and the uneducated and despised on my left. He said I'm going to put the godly on my right hand and the ungodly on my left.
And in the scripture, he always says he'll take a hold of the right hand. If you think about it, when he says he extends his hand to help you, you know, I will take you by my right hand.
Right. So that right, putting him on the right side is a place of honor, and that's where we want to be. That's where we want to be. Now let's get into the crust of this, because how do you get on that right hand side? How do you get on that right hand side? So let's move on. 34. Let's read 34 through 37.
Then the king will say to those on his right, come you who are blessed by my Father, and inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me into your home. I was naked, and you clothed, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will say, I will tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me.
Okay, let's stop there. How do we get on the side of honor? The side of honor. When we do as the pastor said 2 weeks ago, when we become a gift. When we become a gift. What does that mean to become a gift? Jesus Christ was God's gift to the world. And with him being a gift to the world, what did he come to do? He came to save, but he also came to show us the way of how to live this life. And he became a gift. When he was around people, he was doing things for them. He was doing for them. Not because he was rich, because he wasn't rich at all. Worldly, in a secular sense, in a worldly sense, he wasn't rich. But he was the richest man on earth as far as his father was concerned in the spiritual realm. Because as he said, cattle on 1,000 hills belong to me. I ain't got a problem with any of that. But I came to show you what I want you to do. And so what did he do? He went around feeding, healing, preaching, teaching. He went around doing things for people.
Yes.
Having compassion, doing things for people. So that when we show the example, because one of the things the Bible tells us to do is occupy till he comes. So what does occupy mean? I got to take over that residence for some certain period of time. So Jesus says, you got to occupy till I come back. You got to take my place. So what do you got to do? Do what I did. Become a gift.
And a lot of times we run into a lot of people that can tell you what should be done and what's the right way and what they think. But when you don't put yourself in as the sacrifice, the person that's willing to give, that's willing to unleash, that's willing to give from your essence. See, a lot of times people think about money or possession. Sometimes it's your time. Sometimes it's your love. Sometimes it's just your prayer. But you have to, when you occupy, you have to invest. Okay, anything where your heart is, that's where you're going to invest in. So as we look at our example of Jesus Christ, he invested everything. He gave everything. And we are to be that person. We are to be imitators of him.
And then two, he knew how he felt when he did something for someone else. Because he had the same feelings we have. He hurt. He had, when he did something for somebody, he knew how good that made him feel. So when he set an example, so when you go do something for somebody, it gives you a good feeling. Not only do it give you a good feeling, but it gives God a good feeling. That's why when you be a blessing to someone else, he'll be a blessing to you. See, he paved the way to show us about giving and the results of giving. God bless you with what? All power in heaven and earth. As he get through giving down here, he even gave his life for us. He showed us the way. Because when you give, that means that you're giving out that love. Love flowing from you for that person. I had been in line in grocery store. People say, well, I ain't got enough money. I said, well, I'll do that. That made me feel good. And when I heard that message with Dr. Stanley this morning, I said, I see why I felt good. Because giving is like God giving back to you. That's the way I look at it. So if I don't have something I don't need, I'm going to give. Because I know that God gives back to me. If it was time, money, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Because you can't take my philosophy, you can't take nothing with you. So if I give it down here, that means that with my reward, I don't want nobody to pat me on my back. I want God to stand, when I stand before him, I want him to say, hey, come on in. You did what you're supposed to do. But if you be that kind of stingy person, he'll be stingy to you. People don't believe that, but that's the truth. Because when you hold on to something, he'll hold on to your blessing. Until you let that go, then he'll let that blessing flow.
Just to piggyback on him, a lot of times, people say, well, I don't have extra money to give. I'm on a limited income. I don't have this, I don't have that. But if all of the city mission, the veterans, all of them are always asking for stuff. Most of us have stuff in our house that we haven't used and don't need. We can always give it, and they'll come pick it up. But I found that like you said, in the grocery store, it seems like now, every time I go into the grocery store, it's some little old lady that can't manage their basket or can't do this, and I'm always stopping to help. And then I think about it, I said like, why does this keep happening to me? But I'm supposed to give my time, I'm supposed to help. Shoot, when I get 80 or whatever, I may need somebody to help me open the door. One lady was having a problem getting her cart in. I just stopped. I said, okay, let me help you. And she was so grateful because she was having such a hard time with her cart. I just lifted it up and moved it so she could push it. It's those little things that you can do, sharing your time or just taking a little of your time to help somebody that can't help themselves. That's what God says you're doing when you're feeding His people.
And also too, that when you become saved, it's something that comes over you. The Holy Spirit comes over you. You know the Holy Spirit is love. And if you don't show that type of love, you can even, quench the Holy Spirit at times. We'd all did it sometime. I see guys like last night when I left here, I got banned with some money. I said, but I said, no, I'm gonna give it to him. But what I'm saying is our heart changes. When you become born again, the Holy Spirit comes inside you. All these characteristics that they was talking about between the sheep and the goat, all these things come to the front. And not just church leaders, the people that come to church have to realize they have to do these things too. It ain't just the pastor, the deacon, some other boards. We all are in this together. He said the kingdom. He's coming back to the kingdom of God. Amen. So we all have to be partakers of His divine nature in those aspects.
And see, I want us to get to, and I understand what you're saying, but even beyond feeling, because yes, it feels good, but is that why we do it?
Yeah. No.
See, we should not, the feeling, right, we should do it because it's right.
Because it's right.
Because if we went on feeling, we wouldn't be here, right?
No.
Because Jesus didn't feel like going to the cross. Because when He was in the Garden of Gethsemane, He said, Lord, if there's a way that this can go past me, please, let's do this. But nevertheless, I'm going to do what's right because you told me what you wanted me to do. Your will be done. No matter how I feel, your will be done. And when Jesus went to the cross, and the thing was, it wasn't so much the beatings and all of that kind of stuff, but the separation from His Father for that period of time was what devastated Him. What was the thing that had Him in the garden, sweating like drops of blood, because this thing He wasn't looking forward to.
And He became sin. That was terrible.
Exactly. I mean, that, and then the separation from His Father, though.
Right.
Throughout eternity, that never had happened.
Right.
But God had to crush Him
Right.
to give us an opportunity. God had to crush Him.
Sometimes though, you have to look at it, it's all about love. Because I know, when I became saved, something they're doing for other people, all that stuff. You do for people you know, you do for people in your little circle or whatever realm you fall in. But it's like when you work certain jobs where you deal with a whole lot of different kind of people, I ain't doing nothing for them because they this or they that, they act like this and all that stuff. But I know for me, what I had to do is ask God to let me see them how you see them. And because at the post office at the time I was a clerk, and I came in contact with every single carrier every single morning and every evening because they had to get their stuff from me. And when I asked them for that, then you see their brokenness. They all got a different whatever it is, but then you start to see, because you got your own brokenness, but then you start to see them with that kind of love, and you're able to minister to them in a way. Everybody is different. And it's not always about, I'm going to get you a meal or I'm going to do this. Sometimes it's about how you love on them. Because in some people's lives, where they work at, where they live at, nobody has given them a kind word all day. And sometimes they haven't hugged them all day. They haven't said anything encouraging to them all day. And you don't realize that, the job sometimes beats you down, your family beats you down. But then you can tell somebody, oh, baby, smile, it's going to be okay. And it don't matter what religion they are, nationality they are, whatever they are. just baby smile, it's gonna be okay. And I found for me, you know, God gives us all our area, you know. But when I had to ask, because I'm a kind of person, people, when you hurt me a lot, I'll leave you alone. I'll be like, you know what, but then I had to take that to God because that damaged me,
Right.
you know. But when I asked him to let me see them how you see them, when I came back to work after that, it was like, oh wow, you know, because then you really, you see behind whatever that facade that person has and stuff and everything. And then you start to pray for their issues and pray for their family and hope they do better and all those kind of things. Because that's what he wants. We're supposed to be able to love. That's why they tell us to pray for your enemies. Pray for those that despitefully use you. You know, we're supposed to be, like I tell my kids, we're supposed to be better than that. You know, it's easy to be nice to somebody that's nice to you. It's easy to give tit for tat for somebody that's being mean to you. But it's a whole different ball game when you can turn around and although you know they done did you really, really wrong, to still do a random act of kindness for them. And you know, because then it kind of messes them up. It's like, wait a minute, you know. You know, and then they start being, you know, I have seen it in my lifetime where they be like, you know, what is this Jesus thing? You know? And I have seen people that I remember, the church man this and the church this, blah, blah, blah. And they saved now. It's 20 years down the line, but they saved now. And it wasn't because of me, but it was because of God's love.
And see, love will cause you to do things you don't feel like doing. Love will cause you to do things that are uncomfortable because you love. And when you love something, especially, I mean, mother and a child is a perfect example. A mother could be sick, but if their child, there's something wrong with their child, they're going to get up and do whatever they need to do. Why? Because love is pushing, and love is just the strongest spirit when it's really put out there. It'll make you do things that you don't even care how you feel. It doesn't matter how you feel. I've got to do what needs to be done. And this goes into the verse that we read in James too. How do I do these things? Through faith. Because I have faith, because I believe in Jesus Christ, because I love Jesus Christ, and I love him so much, I want to do what he told me to do. I want to occupy till he comes. So because I love him so much and I believe in him so much, this stuff becomes natural now. I will do things, not because I want to get saved, but because I am saved and I love him so much and I want to be a willing a servant of his. Now I want to be, like he said in the Great Commission, go into all the world and make disciples of men, teaching them and training them about me. And when you go and do that, when you become a disciple, guess what? A disciple ain't just going to teach somebody, but it's, I need some help. I'm going to help. And all the things that they talked about here. That's what a disciple is. More than just teaching about Jesus, but showing what Jesus would do, to go beyond and say, hey, I'm not just going to teach you and just pray for you and then keep on rolling. Hey, I'm trying to get my house painted. Well, I know how to paint. I'll come and help you paint your house. Boom, 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 boom. And take care of that. We don't have anything to eat. You know what? I got plenty to eat. You know, either I'm going to go buy you some or I'm going to give you some of what I got. That's what a disciple is. A disciple not only tells you, but shows you.
In that, what you just talked about, we have to go back to the love. Say you know a person that take their money, do whatever they want to do, and then they come to you and say, I'm hungry. What you feed? So first instinct be like, you had money, you could have, but you chose to do something else with it. Even though I know, they done what they done, but I go back to what Cheryl said, look at them, look at their situation. They got a problem. You know what I'm saying? For you to go throw away your money, you know you ain't gonna have nothing to eat. And then you come ask me. So as a Christian, I know I could say no, because you threw away your money. And if you didn't want to eat, then I ain't giving you mine. But go back, it's gonna come back around to that heart situation. And then you give it to them anyway, because they got a problem. Anybody would throw away their money and know they need something to eat and throw it away, they got a problem. So, you still do what you, even though, like you said, it hurt, but you still do what you don't wanna do, but you know it's the right thing to do. And then you have some people that say they're Christians in that aspect, and then they wouldn't do it. You be like, no, you should have did what you supposed to have done with your money, then you wouldn't be in this predicament. So it's two ways, but the right thing to do is don't, because that could be you one day. So you have to do what God has put in your heart.
Right. Sister Jackson, can you finish it up for us?
Sure. 41. Then the king will turn to those on the left and say, away with you, you cursed ones, into the eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his demons. For I was hungry and you didn't feed me. I was thirsty and you didn't give me a drink. I was a stranger and you didn't invite me into your home. I was naked and you didn't give me clothing. I was sick and in prison and you didn't visit me. Then they will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and not help you? And he will answer, I tell you the truth, when you refuse to help my least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were refusing to help me. And they will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous will go into eternal life.
Okay. Now I want you to look at these two answers that people gave us. We heard Christ say, when I was sick, you didn't visit me. And let's go to verse 37. This is what the righteous said when Christ came to him and said, you know, these are the things you did. Then they said, then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee and hungered and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? Okay, you heard their answer. Let's listen to the unrighteous answer. Verse 44. Then shall they answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Now, on the surface, that may not look like a whole lot. But the difference was, when the righteous answered, Lord, when did we see thee hungry and did not feed thee? When did we see thee thirsty and did not give thee something to drink? They just said, when did we see you hungry or thirsty? Or when did we see any of that? It shows their kind of callousness to the issue. They asked the same question, but got different results. Why? Because their purpose was totally different.
Right.
But they said, Lord, when did we see that? And it said,